and just stay, shut up, sit down, you stop it, and then everything would be fine.
Yeah.
Using the stars with full knowledge that the earth was a ball 7 or 8 centuries ago. Like flat people, it'd be flat. It is flat people, it'd be flat. It is flat people.
Let's talk about music. I dig blues music.
I like this. It's very grown up.
This looks fun. Are you going to the moon?
It's just boring space stuff for babies, Daddy. It's not real.
What's up, folks?
Oh no, what we gonna do? The king likes it, we gotta get him out of here.
Before we go any further, we're not saying all this is true. It's just conversation, okay? I kind of like this little safe haven of like this little studio in this beautiful country where I do my activism online. I'm just playing the guitar and playing whatever. And it has this effect. It has this beautiful ripple effect as it sort of, ripples out, all the way across the plane.
So you didn't expect this when you started putting this together. Like, so what was the first song you did?
It was a song called Flat Earth Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. And when I first, because I started looking into truths or conspiracies in 2012, like 9/11 being the catalyst that got me into all of this sort of stuff. And by 2016, I was looking into Earth shape and the heliocentric, all of that sort of stuff, and the NASA, and it just absolutely blew my mind. And I thought, right, I have to put this into music. But I didn't want to put it into music as myself, as Alex Michael, and just because I thought, well, I've got family and friends out there that are going to see this music. Right. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just put on a hat and put on a little country voice and start singing about, hey, what's going on? People like NASA's faking everything. And so I made a song called Flat Earth Man, and it was all about NASA faking everything. So I hid behind the character. So it was almost a genius move, really, because if my family and friends saw it, they would be like, well, it's just comedy. It's just satire. Look at Alex. He's having fun. He's got his little hat on. He's got his shades on. He's having fun musically. So there were some people that would see it on the level that's intended. But, most of my family and friends couldn't say anything because I was just, having fun.
I'm having fun.
Character. Yeah, exactly. It's character. So that's how I started with the Flat Earth Man character. And it was kind of this voice that I hid behind, and I was doing all the country stuff and then so many people thought that I was a genuine American from the deep South or from Texas.
I did.
I had no clue. Which is a huge compliment. It's a huge compliment. It was not like I was out there to deceive anybody. It was just like I'm hiding behind it. So many people thought it was a genuine guy from Texas. So that's a huge compliment. So and then I did the first song, which was called Flat Earth Man, and then that kind of I wouldn't say it went viral, but a lot of people in the Earth shape community went, wow, you need to do more. So I did another song, then another song. Before I knew it, I had a whole album, which is called cheeky little plug here, which is called the Flat Earth Man album. And it was just basically a whole album of like me bashing NASA and
yes.
And like you mentioned before about the whole no photographs of Earth, and there's space is fake and all of that, and it was just
space is fake is a great one,
and the gravity nonsense as well. So it was a whole album of me just waking up to all the heliocentric nonsense. So just that very first song when I got to Spain and realized that the whole heliocentric model was nonsense, that very first song led to a second, to a third, to a fourth, to an album, to a second album, to a third album, and now a fourth album. It's just like, I never planned this. It's ridiculous, but I love it.
That's what I love about it. It's you don't know how far and wide that this stuff reaches. It's so bizarre to me when I hear people from Belgium, Spain, Australia, Japan going, I love what you do. And you're like, what? How did it? That is the one great thing about social media. And
Yeah.
and I love that you put something out there. And this is what people don't understand. What you're putting out there, and me just talking, we don't know how far and wide people are being touched. And I'm telling you, it's resonating with millions of people because they are on this frequency. They do see what we see. It is not crazy. It is not conspiracy. We see it plain as day. And it feels good to know that there's other people starting to go, okay. Like even the flat earth people get so angry.
I love it.
They get so. I get messages like, "Why didn't you just go back to what you were 30 years ago? You suck. You're a piece of. I hate you." The foul hatred, just because they don't agree or they can't see, is absolutely mind-boggling.
Do you believe the moon? And we've been asking, do you believe the moon landing is a hoax? But another debate has kicked off in the studio.
Michael, if you can hear conversations we have in the breaks. The next one is, do you believe the earth is flat?
That came from our producer. He says, do you believe the earth is flat?
Do you believe it's flat? And then Craig's turned around and basically said, I wouldn't be surprised. If someone turned around and said the earth's flat, I wouldn't question it.
Whoa. You can't do that. Let's not paint it in that way. You sound like a reporter with an agenda. He asked me, do I believe the earth is flat? And I said no. But if tomorrow it came out that the earth was flat, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, the earth is flat. They lied to us. Nah, I wouldn't.
Surely you would be surprised. If someone...
Let's move on. All right, so it is all about one. Sean,
just before we get started, I would like to say that we are going to have a good time tonight.
So up there that there is no getting smarter. It's like infinity. It's
But
like
you
going
guys-
further north than the North Pole. You know, it's just like...
The scientists are still doing his homework from 100 years ago.
Stretch it and compress it. You see it happening
the
to the
Earth.
Earth right here.
So literally, because we're part of the fabric of space-time,
I'm a grown man.
We have no other way of discerning. Those kinds of sounds are the future of studying the cosmos.
well, thank you for bringing us the future tonight, Brian
All right.
Green. What a pleasure. Gravity waves. Brian Green. Science. Science. Science.
Are you a flat earther or are you a round earther? And we've actually come to the point on TYT Sports where we have to pick a side, which means you're either with the likes of some NBA All-Stars or you're with the likes of Adam Silver.
Science.
Oh, shit, you calm down, kid. Okay? Wait till we get into this. We've done the clip. I'm not sure if were you here for the Kyrie Irving Flat Earth clip?
Yep.
In which, week straight you're telling me about the animal.
Remember, we saw them firsthand.
They're big.
Every merchant knows what Marco told him of his visit to Copano, a distant island where the king hath a mighty palace.
You a dreamer.
These must be Indians.
In case you didn't know, we have a lot of junk floating around Earth.
The International Space Station is a national orbiting laboratory. Questions to ask. Known knowns, we know what we know what we don't know, and then there's a whole bunch of things that we don't know what we don't know.
It's estimated that there's over 500,000 pieces of space junk flying 18,000 miles per hour.
That way we could sort of work on a flat plane.
The debris is usually created from a rocket launch or satellites crashing into each other.
Show you the strange behavior of honey.
Astronauts that live in the International Space Station frequently need to take maneuvers to avoid crashing into space debris.
Thinking that the Earth might be flat. That is.
So I don't really know what's going on right now with the Earth is flat.
I apologize. I apologize.
By bizarre subjects, chemtrails.
This Earth is flat thing.
Like, I think most people think it's flat.
Flat thing. This Earth is flat thing.
And the single greatest achievement anyone has ever invented in the world ever.
This Earth is flat thing.
Things you had to go through. Yeah. Movies usually are about endurance.
Instead, you've chosen to travel the country calling people like Jonathan Isaac and others, myself included, flat earthers.
What are they trying to figure out? And maybe there's something positive about them that can change me for the better. And if I were in conversation with that person, I hope I would say,
this Earth is flat thing.
History is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. Mainstream science tells us that sometime between 276 and 196 BC, a mathematician named Eratosthenes proved Earth was a globe. This theory spread across the world. By the time Columbus sailed to the West Indies in 1492, most academics and scientists already knew the world was round, or so I've been told. Another current runs beneath the surface of this story, and it paints a radically different picture of our world, one in which the Earth is flat, astronomy is a hoax, and the government doesn't want you to know. This is the world of flat Earth theory. What if schools teaching globalism, the idea that Earth is a sphere, rely on misinformation? What if world governments suppress this knowledge through science that relies on conjecture instead of tangible evidence? And what if astronomy, astrophysics, and space exploration are hoaxes built to deceive the population of Earth? Flat earthers think most of these what-ifs are true. Therefore, they ignore the photographs of Earth from space, along with other scientific evidence, such as mathematical calculations. I know photographs can be faked, and I'm no math whiz, but it's hard to ignore all the evidence. We'd have to believe in a global, centuries-old conspiracy. But for a moment, let's assume it's true. How would a flat Earth work? Flat earthers believe Earth is shaped like a disc, or perhaps a pentagon. Mountains ring this flat Earth, preventing water from falling off the area. Instead of orbiting the sun, the Earth is fixed and immobile in space. The sun passes overhead. I've read other theories that say the flat Earth actually does have something like an orbit, a gradual downward spiral. In this spiral orbit, the mountains don't completely ring the Earth. Water moving between the mountains falls straight down, returning as rain in the next revolution of the spiral. So if the Earth is actually flat, why do these globalists want us to think it's round? Here's where it gets crazy. Satanists, heretics, devil worshippers. Flat Earth theories rely on literal interpretations of biblical scripture. Flat Earthers base their ideas on pre-existing conspiracy theories, such as the Illuminati's New World Order or a shadowy satanic agenda. Many Flat Earthers believe the conspiracy is a crucial part of the coming apocalypse. By undermining biblical teachings under the guise of science, the nefarious forces of darkness can isolate and weaken Christians. Others believe aliens hatched this conspiracy to slow humanity's progress to the stars. Since I've never met an alien, or at least I don't know if I have, I can't say whether or not this is their plan, but it does seem a little far-fetched. To believe this theory, we must renounce years of personal education and centuries of research. Yet very few people have actually seen the shape of the Earth from above. Astronauts are only a fraction of 1% of Earth's population. Instead, we depend on statements of intellectuals we've never met, on pictures given to us by strangers. It becomes a matter of trust. How well do we know our sources? Is it possible we've been fooled? Is Earth the revolving globe we've always assumed it to be, or is it something entirely different? Something they don't want you to know.
Shrubs with severed trunks reduced to stumps, and think to myself, they are terraforming this world I see. Doctors lie prescribing pills that treat and never cure, and think to myself, trust no one in this world I see. Man-made storms flooding a pour in a swirl, and think to myself, they are geo-engineering this world I see. Globe Earth lies, fake space station is no surprise, and think to myself, we're living in a faked out world. I hear the babies cry, watch them grow the shots, keep them low, and think to myself, we're living in a whacked out world.
Beautiful and remarkable things to see when you look out the cupola. I guess so far from me, I like the waters, the shallow waters in the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific.
YouTube page, telling analysis, you will not get it anywhere else.
Sessions Live.
We making moves, man. Y'all waiting on the spaceship.
Welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show, if you don't know, it's part of the show. Didn't they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars? Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of Gish Gallop and wars. No remedy can't save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dubious delight in a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, I'm just too hard, that's it. Welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Intoxicated 8 makes you believe you're spinning in space, while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate, how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and awake with a full plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates, but my brother, heaven could never be late, and rockets don't work in space. It's all fake. The show is on Mars. It's a joke, but you're too far gone. It won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond, and lives of truth that hits the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown, and all of us wearing our holy crowns. So the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along. Just to go along, I said, welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know.
Why don't we fly the long, bitterly cold journey over the North Pole? You might think that it's a huge, pointless detour, but in reality, that's far from true. In fact, it saves time. The issue is actually the area's havoc-wreaking magnetic field. It messes with navigation systems and even our own beloved technology. But what if we did fly over the North Pole? If everything went wrong, could we be rescued? Let's find out. First off the bat, let's talk about the North Pole's chaotic magnetic field. When planes reach their cruising altitude, autopilot usually takes control. But how does it know which way to go? Well, thanks to high-tech GPS satellites as well as inbuilt magnetic compasses which compare the plane's current location to the location of true north at the North Pole. Here's the problem though, the magnetic compasses can't handle the intense magnetic field that the North Pole dishes up, especially older planes which rely on compass equipment instead of GPS. Magnetic anomalies aside, if the plane is smack bang over the North Pole, autopilot will be scratching its mechanical head, trying to figure out a route when literally everything is considered to be south. Okay, but we live in 2019, so can't we just adjust our systems to fix it? Well, no, because the solution is always changing. Per day, the magnetic field moves in loops of up to 50 miles. And its central location moves every year by around 25 miles, not to mention the constant variation in strength as well. One day it might not affect the plane systems whatsoever, but the next, south could appear as north, west could be east, and you could find landing on Mars instead of Madrid. When the pilot can't clearly define which way true north lies, that's when everything starts to hit the fan. Throw in a lack of visibility due to snow, ice, and a 6-month nightfall, and well, you're probably screwed. Pilots could theoretically rename their runways to deal with the problem, since airport runways are usually named based on their relationship with true north. But this is just a band-aid solution. Hold on, if the magnetic field is affecting the plane's technology, does that mean it can mess with our beloved gadgets as well? The short answer is no. Thankfully, your precious iPhone and laptop will live to fight another day. Engineers routinely test basic electronics and magnetic fields up to 2 million microteslas. In the Arctic, we're only slapped with about 65 microteslas of energy. By comparison, a powerful fridge magnet has about 1,000. So 65 might not seem like a lot, but considering that Earth's magnetic field at the equator is only around 25, it's still almost 3 times more powerful than what we're used to. Granted, your phone's GPS might play up a little, but you should have it in airplane mode anyway, right? Even then, once you're out of the magnetic field, everything will be back to good old normal. What about your credit cards? Don't worry, your money's not going anywhere. Yet. That black strip on your credit card is actually magnetic. And what happens when 2 magnets interact? If you think back to high school science class, they either attract or repel each other, which for credit cards can cause something called demagnetization. But at the end of the day, the force isn't strong enough in this one. You'd usually need around 30,000 microteslas to mess up your Amex, and since the North Pole's field is only around 65, you should be fine. Let's say hypothetically that flights could routinely fly over Santa's neighborhood. How would it affect our flight paths? If you think it means you'd be late to dinner in Dubai, sorry folks, try again. On a 2D map, the quickest way from Los Angeles to Doha on Qatar, Flight 739 is a straight line. Duh. That would cut through northern Africa and over the Pacific Ocean. But sorry flat earthers, since the Earth is round, that 2D map becomes irrelevant. Due to the Earth's natural spherical shape, flights such as this one tend to avoid the Pacific Ocean altogether and fly up to the North Pole instead. Why? Because when we take that 2D map and make it 3D, you'll see that overall, the distance is indeed shorter. Along with the curve, it measures out to just under 8,300 miles, while the straight line chalks up a whopping 10,200. So that being said, if flights could fly over the North Pole, to save time and money on fuel, they would. Although, according to enforced regulations, 60 nautical miles from the North Pole is the closest planes are actually allowed to fly. So while Qatar 739 does get close, it's forced to still keep its distance. Speaking of fuel, as you'd expect, it's pretty darn cold up at the North Pole. Like mittens and a knitted sweater just ain't gonna cut it. With temperatures well below freezing, airlines must also be aware of their onboard fuel. In the USA, Jet A is the most common type of aviation fuel, and that freezes at -40 degrees Fahrenheit and -40 Celsius. The colder the air around the fuel, the faster it'll freeze, and in the sky, the higher the altitude, the colder the temperature. For that reason, if you're flying over the Arctic, pilots need to drop the altitude, which adds extra time to the journey, although still far less time than tracking all the way across the Pacific. Even if airlines standardized technology to overcome all the issues we've been talking about, pilots wouldn't even know what to do with it. As it stands, the majority of crews aren't actually trained to handle the unique North Pole environment if things were to go wrong. What if an engine malfunctioned and they had to make an emergency landing? Think about it. They're so far from civilization with almost zero resources in the area, so there's no way a rescue squad would arrive anytime soon. And just a few minutes out in the open air could bring on hypothermia. Don't forget that it's nothing but darkness from October till March, so pilots wouldn't be able to see if what they're attempting to crash land on is ice or a whale's back. Like Qatar 739, some planes actually do make the trip over the Arctic, but they're specially built and are forced to follow strict instructions, like carrying extra gear, including cold weather suits for the crew, highly specialized communication equipment, and recovery plans for stranded passengers. With all these factors coming together, it's no wonder that airlines avoid the North Pole like the plague. The North Pole isn't the only place we aren't allowed to fly over either. The South Pole, for similar reasons, Tibet due to the jagged mountain ranges, Area 51, and believe it or not, Walt Disney World aren't allowed to feature in any flight path.
Flatten the curve, flatten the curve, flatten the curve.
That's all for why planes don't fly over the North Pole. If it was up to you, would you fly over it? Let us know in the comments.